Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming this morning. My name is Artem Tinchurin. I'm from Fastuna, and together with Anna Fordkort, we'll present the case called Technology is Not Enough. A quick introduction first. I'm a co-founder of Fastuna and CTO at Fastuna as well. We are a tech company focused on research automation, focused on the very part of innovation cycle. Basically, I majored in IT engineering, but somehow appeared to be running a research company. I think that's sort of funny. But lucky I am that the entire industry, our industry, went to the dark side of IT almost entirely by now. So I will, as you can imagine, I'm a CTO. I'm not quite a speaker, frankly speaking. But today I will deliver the nerd part of the presentation, and Anna will manage the human part of it. Anna, please.
Try my best. So my name is Anna Fordkort. I'm the global head of market research at Beiersdorf, so responsible for our beautiful brands Nivea and Eucerin and many more. I'm personally very passionate about people, human drivers, and also the related data behind it. And I'm also a lover of progress and transformation. And that's why we're super happy today to share our joint transformation project that we did together with Fastuna and Artem's team. So Artem, do you want to start and share some facts and figures?
Oh yes. To start with, from the GRID report, we know that agile research adoption is actually growing. Clearly, it possesses challenge to our industry. What agile research really is? It's all about rapid insights to inform immediate actions. That means fast, iterative, and eventually simplified in a good sense research, simplified research. I believe there are 4 cornerstones fundamental for agile research implementation. The first is decomposition. Basically, you have to cut your tasks down to smaller chunks. Then standardization, then goes automation, and last but not the least, integration. And integration is always hell of a task, always. In order to manage these 4, this is the challenge, you actually need not only research skills, but also system engineering skills. And frankly speaking, the latest thing is a rare find in our industry. It's basically a little bit atypical. We are all researchers, but we are not system engineers in mass. So, Anna, what was your challenge with our project?
Yes, starting off with like the helicopter view of what is the challenge for Beiersdorf in general. I think it's quite obvious we face really fierce competition in our market. So that means we all know it, private labels are there for years and they're growing and eating up our shares and they're becoming stronger and stronger. But there's also these nice startup and indie brands that are super fast also to innovation. They're also eating our shares. So that means for us, the innovation cycles become faster and faster. Also, trends arrive a lot earlier via social media. It's much easier to access information, as we all know, as a consumer. And that's why our innovation cycles and the internal pressure to develop really innovations at a fast scale, but also consumer-centric, is a really big challenge for us. And of course that means, in fact, for my department, for my function, market research, if the marketeers need to run faster, also market research needs to run faster. So that comes naturally. And that's why we seek for a partner in crime on this challenge to become faster but at the same time stay consumer-centric and do it the Beiersdorf way. So that was the challenge why we teamed up with Fastuna and Artem's team. And maybe, Artem, you share a bit how we started this up.
I'll share another challenge instead. Sorry for this, techie slides. We never liked it, but anyway. This slide was intended as a transition to the human factor, in fact. But look, this is how in corporation like Beiersdorf might look in the eye of a relatively small company like Fastuna. Processes and procedures that are in place at Beiersdorf might look overcomplicated to us, basically. And it was a challenge for us during this project to be fast as to our promise, at the same time complying with all the processes and regulations existing at Beiersdorf. But in the end, this clash of two very different cultures ended up as a win-win situation, I believe. It appears that our fast-moving gear of a small company could fit nicely into this magnificent mechanics of a huge corporation and just play its role there. Very importantly, when we're speaking about those virtual gears, we must remember that those gears are actually people, and in order to work, we, the people, should find common grounds, build the teams, and basically work together utilizing strengths of each party in order to accomplish the project.
Yes, and if we nail it down now to the market research challenge that we had, we came with the challenge saying, hey, we want to really develop and also integrate systematic screening process in the NPD process of Beiersdorf. I think I need to move a bit right. So we wanted to accelerate our internal market research funnel. So we were kind of challenging ourselves in accelerating the NPD process. The second one was we wanted to screen as early as possible. As said, it's not that easy there is a big machine running already. There is an innovation process that we have in place at Beiersdorf. We have gate requirements. There the teams need to bring certain KPIs to get a pass to move to the next gate. So that's all set. So our challenge was really to bring it in with the relevant KPIs. And you will see it later, we put additional steps even. So we wanted to screen as early as possible to kind of foster consumer centricity, have an iterative feedback loop. But at the same time, we need to be super fast to do that. And we couldn't come with a fully standardized tool, which you see a lot in the industry. We really needed to make it tailor-made. And that was kind of the hybrid thing of, hey, full automation, but the Beiersdorf way. So, and that's the challenge we brought to Fastuna, being a great tech company and bringing all together our joint knowledge. So what was really the mind map for success? Yes, one is tech. That's the basic necessity. That's something which is kind of the enabler for the speed and the consumer centricity we wanted to drive. It needs to be intuitive for everyone, the KPIs that we set, the framework that we set, and it needs to be fully customized as said. But the other really, really strong part of it was really this strong partnership that we managed to make, and when reflecting upon the project, it was really the crucial success lever, because we teamed up together, and the team spared. The team challenged each other on both sides, what can be done, what cannot be done, and really fostered a learn and growth path. and that brought us really to big success, bringing us to new heights, for sure. So, Artem, you want to share the system approach that we developed?
As promised, the nerd part of the presentation. Okay, we have the technology, the customizable technology. We have the team, the joint team from both sides. Now the question is how, basically, how you proceed, how you, in reality, how you approach creation of this new process. My personal answer is always, at least, try to use systems approach. What you normally do as a system engineer when dealing with complex systems, and new product development process is a complex system indeed. You start with analyzing the existing process to start with, and then you start, we call it re-engineering it, like redoing, reinventing, basically creating the new one, the new process. There are various approaches to it. I wouldn't scrutinize on it now. But what we did in this particular case, we used our proprietary proprietary internal framework for the NPD cycle as a starting point, and then we worked very closely with the team on the Beiersdorf side. It was a pretty big team, I would say, to adjust this framework to the existing process and pre-existed conditions on Beiersdorf side, to meet their requirements and, not to ruin the existing process to ground zero, because it was unacceptable, and this requirement was clearly communicated at the very beginning, and it sort of made sense to us. So in order to do this, you actually have to do two steps. The first step is you create this chain of stages, like you start with insight generation, then go to insight screen, then go to idea generation. Idea generation goes to raw idea screening, etc. Step number 2, for each chain in this, for each step in the chain, in this chain, for each link in this chain, you define, well, it's sort of a function. So you have to answer the question how this link operates. Like you define input and output, and this is what basically connects the links together. And then you define methodology, some sort of KPIs, action standards, and protocols for each link. And this is, well, it looks pretty simple. It's really simple to do, but you have just to do it. And it will be called systems approach. Try to use it next time you try to re-engineer a really complex process, or simple ones as well. So what were the outcomes, Anna?
The outcome was really a funnel system. We have a funnel screening, and that helps us really from insight to idea to concept phase to really prioritize very, very early on with customized KPIs. And I think also there the challenge to your previous slide is we have proper validation methods in place with big databases behind. So we needed to make sure that all of this, the KPIs and the action standards, meet the very back end, the final validation with the big database. If you have something in the beginning, and then you try to filter out, and then in the end, you still have at the big validation phase, all of your concepts fail, you've done something wrong with the KPIs and so on. So that was really a challenge where we did a lot of pre-testing, parallel testing, back and forth testing for each of the stages. So what we've done is basically setting 3 tools in place with respective KPIs, really helping us to funnel in. It also meant, if you look at that, additional steps. We've done, it's not super new, we have done it in before, but not systematically, and with different suppliers. So for me, it was really important that we scale, that we have a standardized but tailored Beiersdorf way, that we can scale up, and that really helps us to funnel earlier, prioritize our ideas earlier, that we don't have to go the full mile, writing a concept that's then failing in a full validation test. So that was the outcome, which is super, super fast. So we're adding steps, but we're not kind of slowing down our internal NPD process, because all of this comes overnight, not in 30 minutes, but overnight. And it still helps us to really iteratively work with the consumer at every touch point of the innovation process, and funnel down also our validation work. Focus more on the early pre-screening part and less validations at the end was the ultimate outcome. So it was a journey, was a learn and growth journey. If you move on to the next slide, I will share the key takeaways when we reflected on how this all goes, how it all went, and what made it successfully. I think number one is really you have to think holistically on these things. So it's not only about, hey, let's develop a tool and KPIs. It's really about the end-to-end, because the important thing is the process integration. I think my colleagues from the industry side will agree, you can have plenty tools, they don't fly because they don't hit the processes internally, and then nobody will use it. Either we are too slow or we are off the track with the KPIs and it's not helping anyone. So thinking this ahead, having a process, a framework in mind, not only a toolkit, is super important. Second one, give power to the team. So it means on both sides to dedicate resources. It was really a journey that the team needs to work it out jointly together, which is also the next point. Really foster a collaboration. It's not about, hey, you're the Fastuna guys and here's the Beiersdorf guy. At the moment we said we start up with this project, it's a joint team that has a common mission. And it's not about, hey, you're the client and you're the supplier. That's not what makes it successful. It's really teaming up, being super transparent of limitations, of capabilities, and on also limitations, what can be done, what can't be done on both sides. If we don't have this openness, then you will land in a lot of turbulences. We had some, and you have to expect it. With every project, it's a change project, and with every project there is turbulences. You have to learn, and then you have to stand up and make it better the next time. So, and you have to accept that this takes time. The time, what I realized, is well invested because it pays back, and then you can enjoy the ride. Thank you very much.
I would add a closing remark to this key takeaways. Wait, the last bullet here. Use systems approach, create processes, because processes yield predictable results. But in order to create processes, you need people, because processes are created, at least now, for now, they are created by people. And that's what we really, as managers, do. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Does it work? Yeah? Okay. I didn't hear myself. Maybe that.
Yeah, I also don't.
Okay. Any questions in the room? Come on, people. Give me questions. So let me ask a question then. there's a lot of emphasis on process, and I can see why it's happening, because you're driven by external circumstances, the competition is heating up, private labels, alternative brands, so you need to expedite your process. Why now? Okay, I'll get back to you later. Why now and why not before? I see the reasons, but those reasons have been there before. What was broken before that you decided to do this?
Really the pressure from the business side to be faster, a lot faster, and we used a lot of tools as well, fast ones. There is a lot more than Fastuna on the marketplace, we all know that, but I wanted to do it very systematically. It's not here and there, to really work systematic, have a process in place, and to be scalable across Beiersdorf. And it's not like, hey, KPI here and another supplier KPI there. That brings us, if things don't relate to each other, it slows us down again, no matter how fast the research is in the end, because it doesn't relate to it.
Okay, there's a question there.
Thank you very much for a brilliant presentation. Really glad to see that somebody else is working with Fastuna. I really appreciate this tool myself. So I'm curious to learn more about what is the place of the Fastuna in the whole cycle of the innovation process. So do you go with the more serious tools after making some pre-selections, or you are making the decisions within the Fastuna tool as well for some maybe not fundamental projects? So thank you very much.
I have an objection. We are serious too, indeed.
I'm sure that's why I'm asking this tricky question.
It's actually both. As we just implemented it, people need to gain trust in the organization. So we have the full-fledged validation tools that come for our big bets for sure afterwards. For smaller bets, we might go with the proper tool that Fastuna developed together with us. So it's a selective thing, depending on the size of the innovation.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
There's a question over there.
So, yeah, thank you for the presentation, very interesting. I wonder if you, because you put so much accent on how important it is to pre-screen, you know, in the early process and to have the test results right away. Do you use consumer test or consumer research before the ideation phase? I mean, it's important to really screen on the KPI, but is it also important to have a lot of good ideas to screen? So how do you do this ideation phase? Do you really have a process on it? Is it internally, or do you also use consumer research for that?
Two questions in one. Yes, for sure. We use consumer research for that. A clear answer on that one. There is a lot of discovery and ideation tools on that part before. That's partially also qualitative, but also partially quantitative, depending on, you know, social media, AI tools, and so on. If we have a standard process for that, not yet, and I'm not sure if it makes sense, because it really depends on the challenge, you know, on the project or the consumer challenge that we want to tackle. And there is not one like for like. I think we need to select in the process, hey, what is the challenge? And then we need to select what do we have as internal knowledge already, where do we need to fill the gaps on the inciting part. So that's not like for like. So for now, we don't have it, and I'm not sure if we ever have it, we'll ever have it. Yeah.
So, I know I have little time, but forgive me to ask one more question. Processes like this cost money, time, it's an investment, and you put the organization on a change path, you're a change agent. Who's your sponsor internally, and how did they respond to the idea that you wanted to do this, and this systematic change?
The sponsor is basically our marketing community and the board in my case. So yes, they're very much into digital transformation, using automation, being more efficient, but also at the same time consumer-centric.
How long did it take you to have to make the decision in your favor, so to say?
Well, I mean, we were pilot. It was a while because we kind of screened the market for suppliers who could help us. So it is a journey to find that one partner. We did multiple pilots before, and
When
I
we
would
started
say-
working, I think it took us roughly 6 months
Yeah.
actually to reach the end point.
Yes. Once we had the supplier set or the partner set.
Up and running, validated, everything is working like a machine, like maybe, well, it takes time really.
Yes.
And you have to dedicate resources, otherwise it doesn't work. Then it takes forever, and that's then contradicting of what you want to achieve.
Yeah, well, thank you for the answer, because one of the things that I think is it's a systematic change, is the change agency that comes from you, from the two of you, to making this happen. Oh, there is another question, but that's an important thing to understand. It's not just success, it's a path to success.
Yes.
I think we have another question there, or not? No? No? Then thank you so much for your great presentation.
Thank you very much.